Okay, we are live.
Yes.
Candace, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Candace. I'm 36 years old and I have 7 children.
Yes, you do. Do you want to just hop right into some of the questions,
Sure.
or how about first, why do you want to do a podcast?
I want to do this podcast because I know there's people out there that are dealing with the same thing or have been through the same situation. So I just want them to be able to feel like that they can put their story out there and learn to be able to speak up and not be afraid.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're gonna dive right in though. Um, I just pulled up some questions online
Okay.
that I'm gonna ask. Feel free to make it a short answer or a long answer, an interpretive answer, whichever.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right, question number one. Were there any significant traumatic events in your family while you were growing up?
Um, the only thing that I can say is me and my sister, we were physically abused by our adopted mom, and that's basically really it. Just me and her just being physically abused.
Okay. And what age were you adopted?
Um, I got adopted at 6 months. So me and my biological mom, we didn't have a relationship. So
Um, what what age do you remember the physical abuse starting?
I would say it started maybe, I'll say about 3 or 4 years old. Yeah.
Do you have a specific memory of it, of what happened?
Yes. Ooh, a lot. I could remember my mom getting these big branches off of a tree, and like I was doing homework one night, and I didn't understand the math question, and she got angry and upset with me because I didn't know the answer. So she got one of those branches out of her room and she constantly hit me on top of the head with it. And she made my head bleed from constantly hitting me. That's why I have that little spot in the top of my head.
That's from her.
Yes. Hmm.
So for people that are listening that might never have seen that, can you describe what it looks like?
It's a bald spot, but it kind of is shaped like a heart. It looks like a little heart, and there's no hair there, and no hair will ever be able to grow in those spots.
And that's from your mom hitting you with a branch
Yes,
for not understanding math
yes,
homework.
yes. And she also used high heel shoes to hit me with anything she could get her hands on. She would hit me with it. She caused me to have a black eye. I went to school that day with a black eye, and the school asked me what happened, and I had to lie because I knew if I told the truth, then I was gonna eventually get abused again when I got back home. So
And the school reported it regardless.
yes, they reported it because they knew something wasn't right. So CPS did come into the home. Uh, if I'm not mistaken, I was maybe 10 or 11. They removed me and my sister out of the home, and we both ended up going to this foster care home in Sterling, Louisiana. It was okay at first. They showed us love and that they cared for us. It was another little girl that stayed there too, but it was like all their attention was on her. And they were getting ready to adopt her, so she was going to be their adopted daughter. Well, everything was good. It was like she got more privileges than me and my sister did. She was able to go here and there. Me and my sister wasn't really allowed to do anything. So Something happened. So something happened with my sister, and they ended up removing her from the home. They had her removed from the home, and
Just her, not you.
yeah, just her at the time. And she ended up going to this children's home, I believe in Ruston. It was called Methodist Children's Home. She went there, and so it was just me and the other girl.
Do you know what happened? Why they removed her?
Well, all I can remember was my foster mom was saying that she was being disobedient. She wasn't listening and obeying. So that's all I can remember. So it was just me and the little girl after that. Then my foster dad, he drove trucks. He would ride across the state, and he would take me and my foster sister with him. So I can remember one day, uh, she was asleep and I was still awake, laying in the bed, and I hate talking about it, but I need to. He called me to the front where he was, and he told me to sit on his lap, and I sat on his lap, and I didn't know what was going to happen or what was going on. So after that, he just started touching on me and sticking his, inside of me or whatever. So I told my foster sister what happened, and when we got home, we told my foster mom what happened, and she didn't believe me. She told me that I was lying, and she didn't believe it. Then she questioned him about it, and he lied, said that it wasn't true. And after that, it just kept constantly happening. Like he would do it when she would go to work. Like he would be at home, and he would act like I was getting a whooping for something, and he would close the room door, and he would pull my pants down and just start touching on me and kissing on me and stuff like that. And I told her again, and still she said I was lying and didn't do anything about it. And after that, she called CPS, and she told them, well, actually, no, I ran away. I remember I ran away from school.
And how old are you?
I was 12 at that time, 12 or 13. And I ran away from school. I went to one of my friend's house, and she let me stay there, and I told her and her mom what was going on. But I ended up having to go back to my foster home. And after that, she called CPS. They removed me from home, and she told them it's because I ran away. But I never did tell CPS actually what really happened to me. And I just been holding on to this situation my whole life. And my mom, my biological mom, sisters, or brothers, or my adopted sisters, anybody don't know that this happened to me. I just been keeping it a secret. So it's been hard that I've been keeping this secret in, and I'm just afraid to really tell people, what happened. So now that I'm doing this podcast, hopefully my story can come out and I can touch a couple people to be able to speak up.
Why do you think you never told anybody?
Well, one is because I was told I was a liar and it didn't happen. So if I was to tell someone else, maybe they would have said the same exact thing. Oh, she's lying, that didn't happen, or. Because recently I did have someone tell me that, oh, you deserve that. That didn't happen. You probably let him do that to you, and so that kind of thing. So that's why I keep it to myself.
And then did you ever see your foster mom and dad again after that?
I did. I was in my 20s when I went to go visit my um, foster mom, and I was talking to her. I had a couple of the kids with me, uh, and I was talking to her, and he was there, and uh,
You can say whatever you want.
and Eric took me to go visit, and Eric told him, he was like, I heard a whole lot of stuff about you, and I remember my foster dad looking at me and gave me that look like, oh my God, she told him, what I did. And it just, we didn't have that connection. My mom or him, we didn't have that connection like they did with her. And I just felt a bad vibe. So we didn't stay long. We just ended up leaving. And after that, I haven't seen or spoken to him. And not too long ago, he died like a couple years ago. So, and I don't talk to her anymore. So I don't know what's going on with her at this moment.
I wonder if it would be helpful at all to address her as an adult.
You know, I've been wanting to do that, address her and let her know what she did was wrong and she was supposed to protect me. That's why I was there to be protected, and the one that I thought was going to protect me, she didn't do it.
So you were given up by bio mom at 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
You were physically assaulted by
Mm-hmm.
your
Adopted
adopted mom
mom.
until you were 10 or 11,
Mm-hmm.
and then sexually assaulted by your foster
Foster.
dad
Mm-hmm.
for about 2 years. Is
Yep.
that the
Mm-hmm.
correct timeline?
Yep.
Okay.
About 2 years.
Okay, so then what happened then? You're taken out of that home. You don't tell CPS what happens.
Correct. So I ended up going to the same group home my sister went to, Methodist Children's Home. It was in Ruston, Louisiana. I stayed there for, I say I stayed there till I was about 15.
Was your sister still there?
No, she ended up going to another girls' home. It was called Youth House 2. It was in Monroe, Louisiana. So I stayed there in that group home till I was about 15, and then I ended up going to the same one she went to, Youth House 2. And I stayed there till I was 18. So I got out of there at 18. I stayed with my cousins just like for a few, no, I actually stayed with this preacher. I stayed there for maybe a couple of months, maybe, and that didn't work out. Me and her ended up falling out with each other. I'm not sure what happened, but then I ended up going to my cousin's, I believe, and stayed there for a couple weeks. And then another lady that I knew that worked at the group home, her name was Miss Fanny Williams. I stayed there with her, I'll say about maybe 3 months, 4 months. That didn't work out. So it was like I was just.
So if you can rewind a little bit, so you have all these like very traumatic periods of your life. So this 15 to 18 at the group home, was that a good experience?
No, I would say it was a good experience. Being in homes like those and having to deal with a lot of other personalities and things like that is not, no. Some of the staffs that worked there were okay, and some of them were just rude. So I wouldn't say it was perfect.
And no physical abuse, no sexual abuse during
No.
those times?
Mm-mm.
And you were going to school regularly?
Yep.
Okay.
I was going to Richwood Junior High at that time. Yeah.
And did you finish school?
No, I didn't finish at Richwood. I ended up going to an alternative school in West Monroe, Louisiana, and I did a couple of years there. And after that, I just stopped going like around the ninth grade.
Ninth grade?
Yeah.
So the group home just let you not
No,
go?
at that time I wasn't in the group home. I was staying with a lady named Fannie Williams, and after that I just stopped going. Just gave it up. Said I didn't want to
So
do
what
it
did you do
anymore.
during the day instead?
Nothing. Nothing. Just sit around the house and do nothing.
Hmm. Okay, so then you turn 18 and you can't stay at the group home anymore. You live with a preacher. Where did you meet this preacher?
One of the ladies that worked at the group home, she introduced me to her. They were going to the same church together, so that's how I met her.
And what happened there? You said it didn't work out.
For some reason, me and her just couldn't see eye to eye. I don't know what happened, why we fell out with each other, but you know, when I was, yeah, I do. When we were going to church, I was dealing with someone that was abusive. I was in an abusive relationship at that time. And I thought and felt that I could talk to her about the situation, you know, because I lived with her and it was someone that I felt like I could trust and she would listen to me. One day we were at church and some reason she just brought the situation up in the church. And I knew she was talking about me, but she was saying it in so many, you know, ways. And she disappointed me. And it was like she had the whole church laughing about the situation. So I got upset about it and I snapped on her. And inside the church, I snapped on her. And she ended up calling the police on me. And her daughter tried to fight me because I was talking crazy to her mom after what she did. And she called the police on me and she banned me from the church. After all the stuff that she called and I got banned from the church. Never been banned from a church, but hey, it happens.
It does happen.
Yeah, so.
I've been banned from a church too, so
Wow.
yeah. Here we go. We'll start our own club.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So you said that you were in an abusive relationship. When did you start getting in relationships?
I started getting in a relationship at 19. I was 19. I didn't lose my virginity till I was 18.
Wow.
So, yeah, then I started, and then even though those things happened to me, I still accepted and allowed a man to come into my life, you know. And it wasn't perfect. I mean, it was abusive. I've been in 3 abusive relationships, so.
So your first relationship was abusive.
Yeah, with my son's father, yes. Okay.
And how did that start? How did it go and how did it end?
Well, he did have a drug problem. He did have a drinking problem.
What drew you to him?
What drew me to him? I guess maybe because he was generous, you know, at first. But then as we got to get to know each other, you know, it started going downhill.
We can edit out my cough, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Is that still on?
Yeah, but we can edit it out.
Okay.
In fact, I'm going to push pause. Okay. So getting back to where we were. Your first relationship is an abusive relationship.
Yes.
Do you remember the first time he hit you?
Yeah, I remember the first time he hit me. We were in his car. I think we were going to the store or something. And I don't know what started it or if something was said. I think I said something. I'm not sure. But after I said what I said, he just smacked me right in front of my face. Just smacked me. And made my mouth bleed when he smacked me. That's all I can remember.
Hmm. So you stayed with him for how long?
We were together, I would say, 3 years.
And you had
Xavier.
Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How was he with Xavier?
Well, after I had Xavier, me and him wasn't even together. So I raised him, Xavier, on my own. But I remember my sister used to tell me that when Xavier was maybe about 3 or 4, he was at my sister's house and he used to come by and bring him toys and stuff like that. He used to always tell, I know Candace is not going to let me see him or, visit him. And, at the time, no, I wasn't because I was still angry and upset about all the stuff that he did to me. So, I mean, he would bring him toys by and stuff like that. And I just let him keep the toys. I mean, I didn't take them from him, so.
And why did you break up with him?
Because of the abuse.
Was there like one specific instance where you're like, enough is enough?
Yeah, I think as he kept constantly doing it, I was like, look. I remember when he abused me real bad. I had to go to the hospital. My fingers were really messed up real bad. I think we had a fight with each other and my fingers had got messed up real bad. They were bleeding and he bust my lip. He gave me a black eye. And I think after that situation, I knew that it was time for me to go. I knew that was it. I said.
And were you pregnant at that point?
Yeah, I was pregnant at that time. I sure was. Yeah. I sure was.
And then what ended up happening with him?
He ended up going to jail for abuse.
Against you or somebody else?
Against me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
Okay, so at this point, how old were you when you had Xavier?
I was 20.
20?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So dad goes to jail or prison.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens next in your life?
Well, I move on and I find Nevaeh's dad. And it wasn't no better with him. The same thing, abuse. He was physically abused, verbal abuse, and I was pregnant with her as well when I was dealing with the abuse. I remember one particular time I was pregnant with her. He told me that he hopes the baby would die. So one day we ended up having to catch the city bus, and we were on the city bus, and we were heading home, I believe, and we ended up the bus driver was like driving a little bit too fast, and we ended up going over this bump, and next thing you know, I just started bleeding everywhere, and I was like, oh my God. So I ended up having to go to the hospital and come to find out I was having a threatening miscarriage with her. And I was saying to myself, I said, he just told me a couple of days ago that he wished the baby would die. And I said, look, it seemed like I'm getting ready to lose my daughter. But thank God I didn't lose her. She's here with me today. So 14 years later. So, but yeah, he was abusive. He told me one day, he put a knife up to me and he told me, he said this, if I was to ever leave him, that he would kill me. And he said, if I can't have you, no one else can have you. And I still think about that to this day. It was terrifying. I was pregnant at that time when he told me that. And he would just beat me just for no reason, constantly, every day or every other day. And after he would do that, he would make me have sex with him afterwards. And I just felt so disgusted, Because why would you beat me, have me with busted lips and stuff like that, and then you turn around and make me have sex with you after that? Then you would always say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it again. And then a couple days later, you do it again. So that made me feel disgusting.
Yeah. Well, that is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a name for non-consensual sex.
Right.
And that's rape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you get away?
I got away from that situation. Um, my son was actually abused by him as well. We were both abused together in that situation. And I had Nevaeh at that time. Nevaeh was, she was 1 at that time. So if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it was the school or was it someone that knew me or my family, but someone called Child Protection Services and they reported child abuse. And I remember them coming to my house, knocking on the door, and I answered the door, but I didn't open it at the time. And I was like, who is it? And when they said Child Protection Services, I got spooked. I was afraid. I was like, oh my God, who could have, done this? And I wouldn't let him, I wouldn't open the door for him. And I was talking crazy to him on the other end. And she told me, she said if I didn't open the door, she was going to call the police department and make me open the door. And I still didn't open it. So she did actually call the police department. And when they came, I opened the door for them. And she ended up saying that this was an investigation. And she ended up taking pictures of him. And she did see bruises on him or whatever. And
how old was Xavier at this point?
He was 2 or 3. And she did see bruises on him. And we ended up taking both of them to the doctor. Nevaeh never did get abused by him. He never abused her. So we ended up taking them to the doctor, and the doctor was questioning me and asking me what happened, and I protected Nevaeh's dad, and I just kept saying, no one did this to him, and it was an accident. And my son eventually told the doctor what happened to him, and he let him know who did it. And after that, went to court. Well, after that, they took the children from me, and I knew at that time that it was serious. I said, I have to stand up, I have to speak up and let these people know what happened to him. So once we went to our first court hearing, I ended up testifying against him and told him that he's the one that abused him and he was abusive to me. So I had to do a lot of parenting classes. I had to do a lot of things to show them that I was able to be a mom and be able to protect my babies. So I was pregnant with Nevaeh's brother. His name was Braylon. I had him in 2012. After I had him, Child Protection Services ended up taking him from me. And he ended up being put into the foster home when he was a newborn. And me and him didn't have that mother and son bond with each other because they just took him right then.
Like right out of the hospital?
Well, I went home with him, and they came and took him from me.
And they'd already taken Xavier and Nevaeh?
Yep, so they ended up taking him from me, told me that he
Did you know that they might take him?
No, okay. I wasn't even expecting that, but it was a shock to me. And we didn't have that bond with each other. And he ended up being in the foster care system as a newborn. And then I ended up doing what I had to do to get all 3 of them back. And once I got all 3 of them back, I say not maybe a couple weeks later. I know my son was a month old, and like a couple weeks later, after I received all three of them back home, he died. He died from SIDS, that's sudden infant death syndrome. And once they found that out, they ended up taking the kids right back from me. They ended up removing them again from home, and they told me that I wasn't able to get them back until the autopsy came back showing that I didn't do any harm. So, um, after that came back, then I won the court case from Mr. Pratt, and I got Nevaeh and Xavier back, and they've been with me ever since then.
It's interesting to see kind of the cycles
Mm-hmm.
that play out
Mm-hmm.
of abuse and of CPS
Yes.
and removal from
Mm-hmm.
mothers.
Right.
And it's interesting and great to have you here wanting to break that cycle.
Yes.
I think in the time that I've known you, you're aware. I think, Candace, you have been held down
Mm-hmm.
and treated unfairly for a very, very long time
Yeah.
by almost anybody who's had any part of your life.
Right.
And you're here now to speak truth
Mm-hmm.
into what has happened, to speak light into the darkness of your past, and
Yes.
to break that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that.
Thank you. And hopefully, whoever else has been through the same thing as me, hopefully they hear this, and hopefully one day they have the courage to stand up and speak up, and just know is abuse is not okay, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally. It's not okay, and I want you guys to be able to stand up and speak up and let your story be heard.
I think we're going to end there for today for this part of it.
Okay.
I think you have a lot of really heavy stories to tell, and I feel like that's a pretty good place to wrap up. But because you want to share this, is it okay if I put in information for the domestic violence hotline?
Sure.
So for people that are listening to Candace's podcast, you can call 800-799-7233, or you can text BEGIN, BEGIN, to 88788.